on the far right or far left who say outrageous things, everybody tut-tuts, but that if you're in the middle and you're just trying to have a conversation, trying to reason with other people who may have different views, different political allegiances, that somehow you're a bad person or you're weak-kneed or you're spineless because you're listening to the other side, you're talking to the other side. I think much of their anger at me was that I was appearing on Fox News. Why was I on Fox News? They didn't like the idea that an NPR personality, would also be on Fox News. And again, I think that they were just totally wrong-headed about this, Jim.
Let's take a call here from Mike in Falls Church, Virginia at 1-866-50-JIMBO on the Jim Bohannon Show for Juan Williams. His book, Muzzled, is published by Crown. Hello, Mike.
Juan, I think what you just said encapsulates it perfectly. I think NPR was annoyed that you appeared constantly on Fox News. I mean, the venue you were on was Bill O'Reilly, who settled a multi-million-dollar lawsuit over, pretty ridiculous sexual harassment claims, which he pretty much admitted guilt in. This is a company that's admitted profiting by spying on victims of terror and crime. I mean, why do you think NPR would feel comfortable with you going on Fox News? They're completely illegitimate.
Well, there's so much that I think you just said that's way off target, but I'm interested in talking to you, so stay with me. But the first thing that you should know is that I worked for Fox before NPR ever hired me to be a talk show host.
So they hired you knowing full well you were on Fox.
I worked for Fox News. So I just want you to, the caller, I'm forgetting your name, but
it's Mike in Falls Church, Virginia.
I just want you to be aware, I was working for Fox News and when NPR hired me, and Mike, you should know that they hired me full aware of what Fox was and what they do, and that their news operation is on a cable channel, and it's in a very volatile environment, where the cable channels compete and all that. So they knew this. There are other people at NPR who appear on talk and opinion shows, and my job, remember, I was a talk show host and a senior correspondent and then a news analyst. That would give me added latitude in terms of expressing feelings and opinions and the like. I was not a straight news reporter. And as such, I would ask you to reconsider what you just said in terms of my role and the fact that I think that I'm the same person in any environment. It may be that one environment requires me to be more of a debating partner with some of the large personalities that appear on a cable news channel as opposed to the senior correspondent on NPR. But I'm giving the same information, the same attitude. It's not that I'm saying one thing in one venue and another in another.
Can I just say that I think you did provide a lot of context that I didn't have, and I'm a pretty close observer of media, so thank you for that. But it does, strike me as, I don't know how you justify working for News Corp after, taking a paycheck where they got part of their profits by doing stuff that they've admitted to, which is spying on victims of terror and crime. And, there's a lot of suspicion that they've done it here in the United States against victims of 9/11, too.
Well, there you go again, because to me, what you're doing now is you're suggesting that somehow something that is alleged to have happened in one part of the company in London, in England, not the United States. You said suspicions that something happened here in the United States. There's no evidence that anything happened here in the United States. If there was, believe me, that would be blaring headlines given all the attention and scrutiny that News Corporation is under. But the idea is they did something wrong. The man who runs the company, Rupert Murdoch, testified before Parliament. Senior executives of the company have been fired, let go. It seems to me that they also had to, and you can see this in the stock prices, they also had to forego a deal to purchase a major satellite operation in Europe as a result. So it seems to me they paid a steep price, Mike.
More to come. 1-866-50-JIMBO, 1-866-505-4626. Juan Williams, the book Muzzled. And we'll keep his muzzle off.
That'd be good.
Let's talk to Jim in Falls Church, Virginia. Hi, Jim.
Hi. I was wondering what Juan thought. I guess you did cover a little bit about, appearing on Fox and whether they're fair and balanced and all. But, the glorification of the Tea Party on Fox and, a lot of ignorance about, socialism being like Social Security and Medicare as opposed to the government controlling the means of production, which does not exist in this country by and large. I mean, there's a lot of ignorance being spread by Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin. How does he feel about those kind of personalities being on Fox?
Well, I look, everything you just said, I happen to agree with. I think that there's no way that you would say that we are a socialist country or President Obama is a socialist, and I have been very clear and loud in saying on Fox and in my writings on Fox News Count, this stuff is offensive and it's way, way out of line. It's a distortion of the facts of the matter. But again, it's used in a rhetorical sense, I think, to undermine the president. And it's said by people on the far right. And, you know, as I said to you before, all of my disagreement, all of my saying I don't think that's right appears right there on Fox, and so you can't take that away. That's part of what Fox gives its viewers, its listeners every day.
And there's a follow-up to that before we go to the next call. I would simply note that we've had some calls tonight that would seem to pursue roughly this line of thinking. Forgive me if I've paraphrased myself away from the actual viewpoints of those callers, but it's a viewpoint that can be expressed, I suppose, roughly as, I disagree with you, therefore I will have nothing whatsoever to do with you. I mean...
See, this is what, you know, look, in fact, this is an important point, Jim. The first chapter of my book deals with the firing and the NPR episode that really was the source for so much of what's the controversy that surrounds this. But the other 9 chapters of the book are about how hard it is to have an honest debate in this country without someone telling you, you know what, you're too far right. You're part of the crazy right wing. Or you know what, you're too far left. You're one of those crazy left-wing tax and spend liberals. And liberal's a bad word. And socialist is a bad word. And, you know, and all of a sudden you're either in one box or another box. And the idea that people want to be intellectually curious, critical, they want to exercise some independent line of thinking, now is the equivalent of being weak-kneed and spineless and a bad person.
You're wobbly, yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, anymore, you know, I don't think anymore that a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people go to cable news or to shows like this or to the Internet not out of intellectual curiosity, but only for validation of their preconceived notions.
This is what's going on in the country, that people go only to sources and media personalities that reaffirm their pre-existing opinions and positions and political affiliations, and I think there's a danger there. I think that is what I'm talking about when I say that there's an assault on honest debate taking place in America. Because if you try to move away from the orthodoxy, be it on the left or the right, then all of a sudden you're suspect, you're suspicious. And if you do this in public, you can even try to do it at work or, you know, at the gym or with a group of friends. People are like, man, you shouldn't say that. Don't say that. If you be careful who hears you say that, because they could not only accuse you of bigotry, but worse, that you are just a bad person. And in my case, worthy of being fired.
Yeah. 1-866-50-JIMBO. We go